What motivates you?
Internally, I think it was just ingrained at such a young age, watching my parents, the way they treat each other, they treat others, the way they grew up, the way they were brought up with my grandparents. Just a real importance and focus on character and treating people the way you'd like to be treated. Just a desire and craving to see a lot of unity in the world. There's a lot of separation and isolation with people. Part of like a larger thing, like when you and I first met at the MAHA initiative within that room full of all those podcasters and influencers, and it was just a awesome experience. I haven't had a euphoric feeling like that really in a long time. It was hard to get that feeling on a baseball field. Not really hard. I mean, I had a huge passion, and it was every time I got to step on the mound or put on a uniform, like I love that. And this also goes to being part of a higher calling, being a part of a team, not just being independent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's really important for people. It's like, because people could look at you and they could say, oh, you're this like really successful baseball player and your life's probably made because you made X amount of money and you made it, you achieved your dream. But you're saying it's not just I got to play baseball, it's I got to be a part of something, whether that was a team or now like at the Maha stuff, you're getting to contribute to people's lives. And I see that's like a common trend amongst a lot of successful people, is it's not actually about like the thing that people envision when they think success is like money. It's actually this bigger thing of adding value to people's lives and changing people's lives and being a part of something bigger than yourself.
Oh yeah, totally. It's no fun building something great if you're not able to share it with the people you love and care about, or just even people you don't even know. You just want to help out and get people to strive to be the best and healthiest version of themselves.
What does your training look like? Like when you're working out, what does that look like alongside your diet? Like what do you eat?
Well, my training has shifted a lot over the last couple of years. I used to have this crazy work ethic, and I still do, but I've kind of gotten burnt out on the whole monotonous, like just lifting. And there are days where I want to stroke the ego a little bit and go load up the bar, but I'm to the point right now where like I feel worse when I wake up the next day after doing that. So I try to transition to more like play, whether it's like slow pitch softball, golf, trying to get into pickleball. I'd love to start getting back into basketball, but some of those were kind of limited when I was playing professional baseball, and I still am striving to be a major league pitcher. It's going on almost 2 years now since I played, but I know it's still in there to be an elite pitcher. It's just the mind is such a powerful tool. And I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but back in 2020, when I had elbow surgery, it was like the perfect time just because COVID was shutting the world down. So I wasn't really losing a whole lot of time on the field because baseball wasn't really going on. Nothing was going on in the world. And I was like, great, this is awesome. Like I wasn't like really scared about surgery. Tommy John UCL reconstruction is pretty routine nowadays, like a 99% recovery rate. And when am I ever going to have 12 to 18 months to address like issues that I wanted to address? Like whether like the off seasons are only 3 to 4 months long. You can only maybe take 1 to 2 months off throwing. Some guys just continue to throw the whole off season, maybe take a month off. So you're thinking if you're fortunate enough to play 10 plus years, and you're not having a whole lot of time off from throwing. So when this time I got, depending on the surgeon, I started throwing 4.5 months after surgery. So, but you don't get off the mound until maybe another like year post surgery. So it's like, it's kind of crazy. They take either your, see, like if you do this right here, I have like, see if I can do it. Don't be shy on the camera. But there's a pulmonaris longus here, and I don't have it. I mean, that glare is terrible. I don't have it on my right side. So this is a tendon. UCL is a ligament. So they take the tendon and they basically reinforce it, put it where the old ligament was, and it basically dies and becomes a ligament. So it's not at 4.5 months. It's not like really ready to rock, but you have to like slowly stress it a little bit so it like kind of toughens up. And then but you're like very low volume, low intensity, and you start building up. I get on the mound at month 12, and at the same time, I'm crushing my rehab. Like I was doing my physical therapy in Florida at this place called Cressy Sports Performance, and he's premier, really baseball trainer, but he's a genius. So I'm down there. Didn't really know what the state of things were going on back home in Texas. So I just decided to set up shop in Florida where I knew it was somewhat safe. And I turned this house I was renting into a biohacking lounge. Essentially, I had an infrared sauna. Now I don't really care much for infrareds. I now have a barrel sauna, so I can get to like 230. And there's not really a whole lot of research out yet on infrared saunas. There's thousands of years of evidence of sauna, like high heat sauna use from like the Finnish and all those people up there. I actually went to Finland back in November, and everywhere, every hotel you look, there's a sauna, and you just go jump in the Baltic Sea afterwards. It's freaking amazing. It's all about community. Like this one place in Helsinki, called Loyally, and it's a badass sauna. It's kind of touristy though, but the sauna, you go jump right in the Baltic. It's like 40 degrees. And then everybody just sits by the fire and drinks beer and chills and hangs out. But anyways, back to the biohacking place. The one I had a hyperbaric chamber. That's when I first got introduced to the Morosco Forge, an ice tub every morning. I had a red light bed too. It's called a light stim, but I like more like the Nova Thors, but those are like 130K. I was just renting this light stim bed. I thought that was super cool. I would tinker with like doing the red light for, I guess, like 40 minutes and then go in my hyperbaric. Just, I don't know the science behind it, but like to me, it's like you're getting all this vasodilation from the red light, and then you go into the hyperbaric, and then it's able to, that oxygen is able to just penetrate even deeper. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm not. That's just what it makes sense in my head. We'd have to ask like your dad or some other expert on that. That's capable, that's qualified for that. I mean, I was in Florida, so good sunlight, prioritized morning sunlight. I wasn't too far from the beach, so I did a lot of grounding in the morning, meditation, breath work. I hired a personal chef. I did some blood flow restriction devices for, I don't know if you ever toyed around with that, but like back in the, like, have you ever seen bodybuilders, like they essentially make like a tourniquet on their limbs, and they can do like high rep, and it like simulates, like you're basically just occluding the blood, and so you're building up all this like lactic acid. So you're tricking the mind that it's doing like, and the thing is you can do lightweight, but you're tricking the mind that you're doing heavyweight. So when you take it off, you just get like this surge of growth hormone. So
Whoa.
did a lot of that. The chef, and so I was like, I was dialed in, and then month 15, I had a weird like setback, and I ended up like, it started like, who knows what was actually going on, but they did the surgeons convened or thought that the guy that did my surgery, Dr. Alchek in New York, and Elatrosh, they were talking, and they came to the conclusion that it was more like I was starting to have a flexor tear, like a tendon issue in my elbow. So they shut me down for 6 weeks. They did PRP and stem cells from my bone marrow in my hip, and which is like unheard of for pro teams to do that, because like the fear of stem cells is like, if you put them in someone with cancer, then that tumor is going to grow. And like, I don't think they did any like testing on that with me, but everybody does. They love PRP. And so I've always heard PRP, but then they're like stem cells. So I'm like, oh shit. Like, I just think these people are like, we're not going to be responsible for Noah Syndergaard not making it back to the big leagues because something like this happened.
Yeah.
And so I took 6 weeks off. I did that. And then I did 30 hard shell hyperbaric chamber sessions. Because at this point I was up in New York for the rest of my rehab. But I was like, at that point I was like kind of like bummed. I was like, oh shit, I might not ever like play baseball again. And it like, I think my body kind of stored that as like some kind of trauma or something, because I haven't been the same since that point, and I haven't been able to like access my, like I used, for if your audience doesn't know, like I used to throw 100, like sit 100 miles an hour, be really hard thrower, and then like I I made it back in 2021, but something wasn't right. Just looked weird, and then so I started. My time in New York at that point was over. I was a free agent, and my agent thought that it'd be a good, wise decision to like maybe New York, playing in New York is a lot. I handled it really well. I embraced the city. The fan base was amazing. But I mean, he's like, maybe just come to the Southern California, and I was like, okay, I'll go play for the Angels for sign a 1 year deal with the Angels. And I as soon as I signed with the Angels, I rented a place in Newport Beach for the whole year for the season and everything. So this is like January off season, so 6 weeks before spring training. I'm at this gym training. I'm trying to just get back to like feeling natural, and something's still not right. And then like people started tinkering with me. I started going to another place. I went to another guy. I went to another guy, and I went to like, and I made it work for the 2022 season. And then I got traded to the Phillies.
Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to shout out my friends at Conviction Co. If you know me, you know I love my hats. And my friends at Conviction Co. have not only made an amazing hat, but hats that stand for something amazing. I'm obsessed with these, and you will be too. Seriously. They're such great quality, and I love them so much. So head over right now to convictionco.com to grab your own hats and stand with me in standing for something you believe in and looking and feeling good while doing it. Use code WAXON, at checkout for 10% off. That's wax on, wax off for 10% off at checkout. Trust me, you'll love these hats as much as I do. Use the link below. Let's get back into the episode.
And funny story about Phillies and like how my attention to wellness and biohacking. When I was with the Angels, everybody knew me as the green water bottle guy, like Mountain Valley, because all I drink.
Yeah.
And so when I was with the Angels and we're playing the Phillies, where the bus drops you off, the walk from there to the visiting clubhouse is super long, but you have to walk past the home side. And out past like their clubhouse is just pallets of the Mountain Valley sparkling. They didn't have any still at that point, but still, like this is when you have teams just full of plastic Dasani bullshit like everywhere, like that. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then 2 months later, I get traded there. I'm like, wow, this is like destiny.
Yeah.
And they have, like the Phillies, like, well, Bryce Harper, you know Bryce Harper is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like he's an athlete that like takes great care of his body, his attention to detail, as a personal chef. Like I remember like they were asking him on the broadcast one time during a game, like, oh, because Philly's known they have like the most Michelin star ranked restaurants per square mile, I think in the world or in the country. And they're like, oh, what's your favorite restaurant? And he's like, well, I just eat whatever my chef makes me. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, that's what's kind of sad. It's like, even like, yeah, I like to go out and eat, but at the same time, I'm like, there's probably 100% chance this restaurant's going to be cooking with seed oils.
Yeah.
Unless you're on seed oils, there is a resurgence of restaurant, or not a resurgence, a surgence of an enlightenment of people coming to the realization of like, oh, okay, this is how we should eat, and we just should not be cooking with engine lubricant. And
Yeah.
so after the 2022 season, I made it work for that year, but I was like, there were some games where I was throwing like 90 miles an hour. And I'm like, if you look at a side by side of me then and a side by side of me back when I was throwing really hard, you can tell there's a difference. It's not like they're matching up exactly, and like the velocities are different. It's like my body's doing weird shit that I didn't do before, and that's because like people just started like fucking with me so much that I got so perplexed, and like I made it even worse because I went to right once the season started, we went to the World Series. I was fortunate to pitch in the World Series. I did really well. I was healthy all year. So as soon as the season ended, this was like November 1st, most guys are done. I went to a place in Charlotte, North Carolina called Tread Athletics and did an evaluation with them. And then I was going back to Arizona to do an evaluation with a place called Driveline, which are two premier baseball training facilities in the world. And both those two places both said two different things of what I need to like work on. So I'm like, Jesus, what the fuck? And so I went with the Driveline program, But then after I went to the driveline thing, I went to Park City, Utah, and I did this full body stem cell makeover with Dr. Harry Adelson. And that's where they take like 4 different types of stem cells, one from your hip, your fat, this other thing called exosomes, and V cells, which they extract from you as well. And they inject it in every joint of your body, not that, like your hair, your face, and even your dick too. So I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. No, I'll do the whole treatment. Yeah. I'm not gonna like, you know what? No, leave that one out. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll see what it does. Whatever. And but it was really awkward because like this is they knock you out for 3 or 4 hours, so you need somebody to like look after you. And my mom came with, and the doctors call me back, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you after. They're like, oh, she can come too. And so they're sitting down with me and they're talking about what they're going to do. And so the male surgeon's doing the orthopedic stuff, and the female one is doing all the aesthetics. And then she's like, oh, we're going to do like your sexual organ. I'm like, oh my God, why did you have to mention that in front of my mother? Like, I told her to sit back there for a reason, not knowing that you guys were probably going to do this. But I just did that I wasn't like having any injuries, but I was just doing that to buy myself some time, because like there's countless athletes that are probably going around with micro tears or micro traumas that can turn into big traumas pretty quickly. So I was just trying to do some repair work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I signed with the Dodgers, and because the Dodgers can fix everybody. As soon as I signed with them, I reported to Arizona where their spring training is, and I was there for 3 months before spring training started, just showing an initiative like, hey, like I want to get better, I want to get through this, like, and it just got to the point where I was like almost paralysis by analysis, and I got to be the only one in the world that went to the Dodgers and came out worse. And it got to the like, but it wasn't because I wasn't freaking trying my hardest, but
Yeah.
but then it just got so bad that like but they still believed in me, but they put me on like the IL, but it was basically like the phantom IL, which is like they come up with like a obscure injury, and it was mainly just so I can get my head above water. And then I went back down to the place in Newport when I was with the Angels, because they showed me one video and they showed it to where I was with the Dodgers, and once again I'm like way different, but like the Dodgers weren't addressing that. So I'm like, they're telling me one thing, you got to listen to your coaches, like you don't want to be the guy that's not coachable. But at the same time, so it's like most of these guys I've been going to see, I'm like, at the end of the day, like I'm the expert in this, I'm still my own best coach. Like, as if I can just go out there and be free and not think about shit, then I'm totally fine. But like, even like back in the day, like when I was really good, I would have little cues. Like I wasn't like, some people are like, oh, I got to think about what my hip is doing, like where my shoulder's at. And like, you can't do that. You can't really focus on like throwing the absolute shit out of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have like little cues of like, stay closed. And like people are like, oh, you got to stop thinking of that. I'm like, I thought a little bit back in the day when I was really good. Like I'm not being so like I'm not going brainless or mindless out there. I'm still like present, So it's just like some confusion there. But then so I got traded to the Guardians before I even got back from the Phantom IL, and I was with Cleveland for a month, and then I was showing signs of kind of trending upwards. My first start with the Guardians like was actually pretty good. I was back up to like 95, 96, and like kind of had a little bit of an edge, but it subsided quickly. Maybe it's because I was pitching against the Astros and like fuck them, right? But so yeah, and then a month later I got what they call designated for assignment, which is you just get taken off the 40-man, and then I got released, and I haven't played since. I went back home I was in Manhattan Beach at the time when I was with the Dodgers, and just kind of took some time off, and then I got back into training. Threw a bullpen in front of like 15 scouts beginning of last off season. I was like 94, 95, and thought for sure that'd be enough to get a big league job, but it never came to fruition. And once last May rolled around, my agent and I for June came to the conclusion, like, let's just like take some time off and shoot for next year. And just things just haven't been clicking all that much, but they're starting to. I'm starting to feel pretty good. I feel like a broken record sometimes, but I know it's still in there. That it doesn't just disappear, especially with like how well I take care of my body and how attention to detail and how aware I am. Like I'm still like have a lot of like freak athleticism left in me, and
Mm-hmm.
baseball and golf and like maybe even some like hockey I've seen. I mean, you can see it. You can probably witness it in all sports, but it's more prevalent in baseball and golf because you see some golfers and like, damn, like they have a spare tire around their waist, but yet they're nasty golfers. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you see that, not necessarily like that in baseball, but like I played with some of the best that, I mean, to like all the respect for them, but I would never want to be the kind of guy that like, even if I did have the God given ability to do it, like eat Taco Bell and Mountain Dew and Philly cheesesteaks and not train and not even like spend any time in the training room to
Mm-hmm.
like get like massage or tissue work done. Like if you don't want to go to the weight room, fine, whatever. And I've seen a lot of people do that. I'm old enough now, right? Like I'm not going to benefit from going from a 400-pound squat to a 450-pound squat. It's just going to build more compression and be harder on my spine. I'm
Yeah.
6'8". Like barbell back squats, ass to grass aren't necessarily my friend with my femur length and how my hips are
Mm-hmm.
designed. So you see that a lot in baseball and golf, but so that's just further like I know it's still in there. It's just back to the hard shell hyperbaric things. I just had a thought of the mind being a powerful tool. So I had my own or soft shell hyperbaric, and I could get in and out of that thing 4 minutes. It's like low pressure, not even 4 minutes. When I got good at it, I go in and out real quickly. I could be in there for however long, but as long as I had control, like I'm good. But like when I did the hard shell one, it's actually in a like hospital setting. I couldn't wear my contacts. You have to like wear a grounding strap. You have to wear like cotton gown. Um, and it takes 10 minutes to get to pressure, and if you want out, it takes 10 minutes to get you out.
Yeah.
So like my first time, I wasn't expecting this at all. I was like, oh, this is going to be super chill. And the first time I'm walking in there, they're telling you got to do this. I'm like, oh, I'm a little freaked out right now. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
is this like what the fuck? Like, is this like, do I really need this right now? Because like, it's for like severe burns, but I was and like all kinds of crazy stuff. But I'm like, I'm not gonna not play baseball ever again because of this. So I'm gonna make sure like whatever's going on in my elbow right now is ironclad. Um, so the first time I go in there, I'm like, I start having like some kind of panic attack or anxiety attack, but I'm like, I gut it out. I don't know what it was. Just something freaked me out, but I just do box breathing the whole time. And like, there's an attendant next to you the whole time, and you're able to like watch TV outside of this screen. But like, I had these glasses on that you could move the lenses and like adjust the visions, and you're looking through a glass tube. Almost like giving me a trigger right now just thinking about it. Um, but like, I don't know if that like screwed up like my vestibular response, but it screwed me up somehow. But I ended up
Mm.
doing 30 sessions, but almost every single time, the first 20 minutes were the worst. Like I would have to have the nurse practitioner come in and take me through a guided meditation. But like, so 10 minutes to get to pressure, and every 20 minutes, you have to take 5-minute air breaks to avoid oxygen toxicity. So this is way more intense than my little vinyl one that I have.
Yeah.
And so like that, you do 20 minutes, 5, 25, 25, and then you do 15, and then they take you out. After the first air break, I was completely fine. Nothing in the world could have bothered me. Like it was just so strange to see the shift in my like. It's not even like the conscious. It's like my subconscious, like my like ancestral fight or flight. Like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. So like every time my body stored that as like a story of like, oh no, hyperbaric, that thing
Hmm.
bad. But it's like Also, it's just like the whole mental side of things, like that all correlated around the same time that I started having like flight anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But it all goes back to control and being able to like let go. Like I feel like I need to if I'm able to like when I was with the Angels, I'm not going to say his name, but there's another player on their team that suffers from like really bad flight anxiety. If there's any like turbulence, apparently he's run into his seat, but like so, he's a really one of the best, and so and recognizable. So if he went up to a pilot and be like, hey, can we fly with the cockpit door open? Like almost every flight I was on with the Angels, like the cockpit door is open and the pilots were just like shooting the shit, like you know, like whatever. Like oh if I can see that and they're chilling, then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like looking up there. I just want to know what's going on. It's like, is this normal? But then I come from a family of like, my grandfather was a Navy commander. He flew planes. My uncle was a Marine pilot. I have a cousin that's a pilot, and I used to love turbulence. I'm like, oh my god, this is so much fun. But then I just became
Oh
so much
no.
more aware. And my mom I'd make fun of her because I'm like, what are you so worried about? I'm like, oh, now I get it. Because we're flying through like a Pringles can at
Yeah.
5 or 7 miles up in the air with like uncontrollable environment. But
Mm-hmm.
my uncle's like, you know, like when you're that high up, you're essentially in water. So like if you're on a boat, like boats, I mean, they bounce too. It's the same thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it still didn't like you can't trick my nervous system into doing that. So that's when I started like really diving into like the sympathetic, parasympathetic response. And like sometimes like if I feel like super sympathetic, and I don't know if that's like the right time to do the cold plunge. Like I want to be in a space that I can like receive it and get something out of it.
Mm-hmm. Can you dive into the what the difference is in the parasympathetic and the sympathetic?
Yeah, I can do my best. So like sympathetic being like fight or flight, like back in the day that was useful for avoiding predators, other tribes, any sort of danger. Parasympathetic being rest and digest. You know, I imagine like that's being surrounded by a campfire. You know, um, play, being around loved ones, things like that. That probably
Got it.
was more prevalent back in the day. That's the rest and digest. That's just the chill, relaxed state. But now everybody seems to be in a sympathetic state. Whether it's like you turn the TV on, you see negativity in the news, toxicity in the news, social media, anything job related, and there's not a lot of stress mitigation going on. You know, just taking 3 minutes out of your day, maybe to just like focus in on your breath. I can find, I mean, even going to take a pee can be meditating. It's like instead of like whipping out my phone and seeing like how can I pass the time, I'm like maybe I'll just be like super present here and be here and not anywhere else, or like being at a red light. I've been way better at like, oh, I stop at a red light. I'm not going to grab my phone to like, I'll just distract my mind while I sit here for 45 seconds. And I can use that for an exercise, a mental exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that interesting because a lot of people, myself included, a lot of people, we go to our phones to escape something, like to escape that anxious feeling that we're having, but that's actually, I feel like that's the source of the problem in the first place. So it's like it's kind of vicious cycle where we feel anxious, we feel like we kind of need to numb ourselves, so we go to this thing, but that thing is the thing that causes the anxiety that we're trying to escape in the first place, and it's kind of just repeating over and over
Yeah.
again.
So it's a vicious loop. And I guess, I don't know if like that cortisol of like, I'm guilty of it too. Like sometimes like when I see a troll talking shit, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna say something mean back to them, and like that negative cortisol release or whatever it is, it temporarily feels good for 1 second, and then when you're like, oh no, you feel worse than before. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's an interesting vice for or crutch for some people to try to use that as an escape, and it just sucks them back in down the hole.
Hmm. A lot of I asked a lot of people what they would want what they wanted to hear from you, and what their biggest questions were for you. And pretty much everyone that I asked was wondering about what they should do to kind of reach their physical goals, because you're this like all-star athlete. You are extremely like I mean, I got to see you in person. You're freaking jacked. So people are like, they feel out of touch with their body, whether they're trying to gain weight and gain muscle mass and grow, because they feel like they're like, for lack of better words, too skinny, or there are people who are overweight and they kind of want to like slim down and get to a muscular state. So for kind of both of those people, what would you recommend training wise that they do? And then also, like, what have you found for yourself that was really helpful diet wise?
Okay, yeah. Well, I think it's important to realize that I was a fat, like chubby late bloomer kid as a
Hmm.
teenager. I was always involved in sports, um, but then uh, going into like maybe my eighth grade year, my parents didn't trust me to be by myself at the house during the summer, so I had to go over to my best friend's house. And I mean, they did not have the healthiest habits, and they didn't have a whole lot of food in the house. And what they did have available was like wild cherry Pepsi and brown sugar Pop Tarts. And the mom ran the uh, the concession stand for the baseball complex, so we were always going to Costco and getting Slim Jims and Airheads. And so I think that's when I really started to develop some man boobs, and I got a little self conscious about it, and had a little suffered from a little bullying when I was younger. So just kind of it motivated me to make a shift. And I remember one time I was at Chili's with my dad, and instead of ordering a Coke, I ordered a water. And I think the rest is history. At that point, I've just continued to exponentially learn about training and diet. I remember back in the day, I was going to GNC and eating cottage cheese before bed, and I thought that was like what it was all about. And now it's just really shifted for training. Oh man, that's I mean, I try to implement a lot. I mean, yeah, if you want to like lift weights, yeah, I mean, I still love lifting weights. I love being strong. I just don't maybe do like once or twice a week. So
Yeah.
depending on what you're striving to what your goals are. I would maybe I don't know. That's tough. I do just a lot of functional badass kind of training, like kettlebells, steel maces, the Indian clubs. I like doing Bulgarian bags. Any kind of like intense conditioning on like the rower. I have an Airdyne. I have a lot of stuff in my house, but and I mean, I love sprinting and jumping. I mean, when's the last time a lot of people over the age of 30 or that stopped playing sports, when was the last time they actually like sprinted 100% max effort? It doesn't, and the sprint doesn't actually like physically like sprint. Like that can be on a rowing machine. You can be on anything, just exert yourself really hard and like a cardiovascular standpoint for a little bit. And then I think that zone two conditioning, like I like doing incline walks where I can able to have a conversation if I needed to for like 30 minutes. There's all kinds of benefits with fat loss, and a whole lot of with brain health too, with the zone two cardio. And same thing with any kind of working out. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like going to the gym and just moving weight around like is just therapy in itself. What else? I like to do a lot of landmine variations. I wish I could do more power cleans, but I don't have the wrist mobility for it. So the landmine clean and all that is uh, a safer variation. Just moving fast, being explosive, jumping, a lot of play. Um, in terms of a diet, just getting back to real whole foods. I I like grass fed beef. Like vegetables are fine if you like them, but I don't really mess around with the roughage all that much. Unless like some zucchini or purple Japanese sweet potato. A lot of bone broth for collagen, ligament health, gut health, skin, hair, nails. I'm really into raw dairy. Make a raw milk smoothie every morning with some. I haven't been able to. If I do implement organs, I'll do it in a ground beef blend already. Every now and I have experimented with just like taking frozen liver and just chopping it up and forking them down like they're multivitamins.
My aunt does that right now. She has the frozen liver, and she just takes some like supplements.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What else? Berries, fruit, honey, maple syrup, uh, fermented foods. What else? Hmm. If you want to gain weight, learn to love dates. I freaking love dates. They're so good. Date. If anybody's like, oh, how do I gain weight? Dates, raw milk, or if you can't have access to raw milk, go to Sprouts and find yourself some ice cream for bears. Have you had that yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's so good. It's regenerative A2 grass finished milk or cream. It's like a combination of milk, cream, skim milk, and they just sweeten everything with raw honey. There's no like garbage fillers or preservatives.
Yeah.
It's like like the vanilla might actually have like 5 ingredients. It's cream, milk, skim milk, egg yolks, vanilla bean, and raw honey. And that's it. And like you can take it out of the freezer. And I don't know what sorcery they do, but you take it out of the freezer and you don't have to wait for it to really thaw out. But if you do wait a little bit, it's freaking insane. I have like the record for eating an entire pint in like seconds. It's so amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that it's really fascinating to see how people are like the things that you're saying. These aren't crazy things. This isn't like, oh, and then you have to like cook this massive meal. It's like, no, buy dates, eat dates, get raw milk, drink raw milk. It's whole foods, and the more that I learn about, because I'm a picky eater. I'm not the greatest like with my palate and stuff, and even having my dad being who he is, eating healthy was always hard for me. But I can do dates. I can do raw milk. I can do that stuff. And I think it's really important to find what works for you. And you talked about like you've kind of switched the way that you train and you do more play things. And I think that's really important. And I was also thinking about today. I do a lot of calisthenic stuff, and I do handstand push-ups.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was doing handstand push-ups today, and I was thinking about afterwards. I was like, how many people have like above the age of like 11 have been in a handstand, especially guys have been in a handstand, been upside down for like like this doesn't happen. And I also added wind sprints in, and that's been huge for me. Just running as fast as I possibly can, like someone's trying to kill me.
Yeah,
Uh,
it feels so good. But one thing I will not do is I will not long distance jog.
Oh heck no, no way.
That's so terrible. I ran a
I
mile not too long ago just for shits and giggles, and it was like an 8 minute mile, and I felt like my heart rate was at 110% the entire time, and I was at just a jog. I'm like, I don't know how people do this.
yeah. Was being a professional athlete always your dream as a kid?
Yeah. I think I kind of manifested it a little bit. I didn't really. I mean, I did, but it was just kind of like I tapped into the frequency at an early age to where I just everything I did kind of like aligned with that
Mm-hmm.
goal. And like also my senior year, my coach had recommended that I write down like what I goals I wanted, like individual stats. And I don't know if I'd recommend like individual stats because it's like if you say you want to hit 500, it's like, well, what if you hit like 498 kind of thing, like
Yeah.
oddly specific. But like, and I put it in my bathroom mirror. So every day, like, even though if I didn't necessarily see it and look at it, I saw it. It was there. Like my subconscious kind of like read the environment and started to like hopefully program where I wanted to go. But
Mm-hmm.
manifestation, that's a complicated woo woo subject.
No, I think it's really important because, like, manifesting, maybe not in the like way that people always talk about it. It is a real thing, and you do attract things by setting yourself up for success. And part of it's work. Like, if you just wanted to be an athlete and you didn't do anything, you probably wouldn't get there. But it takes both the being open to what's coming your way and also working at it and doing the thing.
More than just saying in your head, I want to do this, I want to do this. You have to like convince your nervous system that that's what you actually want, that you've already attained that goal. And it's just like working from like a top down perspective.
Mhm. What did you talked about meditating? What does your meditation look like?
You know, it's kind of like fair weathered. Um, it comes and goes for the most part. I'll be honest with you.
Mhm.
I do find it to be super important. But like finding the time, not really finding the time. You can take 3 minutes out of your day and still get benefits out of it. I my routine is always all over the place, so I try to find um, at some point throughout the day to uh, get some kind of meditation, mindfulness in. I think doing the cold tub is in itself a meditation because I try to
For
like
sure.
be present in there. I don't even time myself in there anymore. I just try to focus on my breath, focus on finding peace and getting comfortable in that stress. So yeah, I don't time myself. I think that it's not like super important with that. And the same thing with meditation. Like I don't think you need to time yourself because you're just counting down until you're, am I done yet? Am I done yet? You're not quite getting there yet.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Cold plunge for me is totally a meditation because you're like kind of overcoming this stress, this obstacle, and then you're calming yourself down and like finding peace through adversity on like a very micro level. And then after I do a cold plunge, I just know that day is going to be a good day.
Yeah, but sometimes my routine is like something like today I didn't cold plunge in the morning because the sun wasn't out, and I like to cold plunge and then sit in the sun. So I didn't do it this morning. Instead, I went outside, did some meditation, got the grounding in, early morning sunlight, and I just did a little reading.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this. What books have really changed your life, and what books do you like a lot, and would you recommend?
Um, for like a food perspective, I like The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan. It's not like a health science book. It's just, it goes back to like getting back to the old school ways of how we used to eat and
Mhm.
like the preparation behind food and like the gathering behind it and the community. If you want to get like real sciencey, Deep Nutrition by Dr. Kate Shanahan's really good. Um, she goes into like the works of Weston A. Price and going and studying all those indigenous populations and how they don't suffer from any chronic disease and their like all their facial symmetry is perfect and their teeth, they don't have any teeth problems, they don't brush their teeth, and their
Hmm.
smiles are perfect as well. Just because like there's no prevalent seed oils, refined sugars, probably an element of not being uh, disconnected to the modern world, like 5G, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like people like I'm starting to learn with. I just moved into a new home a year ago, and just trying to optimize like the environment around me to be
Mhm.
non-toxic. We always talk about like what we put in our body, but what's around us. Like the shirt I'm wearing right now, 100% organic cotton, um, uh, whole home. Water purifier, does reverse osmosis, all that fancy jargon. Trying to think what else. A sleep environment optimized with like plants that are oxygenating. They take toxins out of the air purifier in the room, cold, organic mattress, sheets, um, red light bulbs. What else we got in there? Grounding sheets. gotta have a grounding sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all that.
What does the grounding sheet do? Because I just watched a video about that today, actually.
I mean, basically, it's infused with like silver threads. So I used to plug it in directly to the outlet, but Saladino and Ben Greenfield have got me into like this dirty electricity. So like that dirty electricity, I mean, it's essentially like it's like tap water,
Mm-hmm.
um, coming out of that socket. So I have this rod that I can connect, and I just run a line out to my yard, and I put the rod in the ground, and it's kind of wild. Like I have this grounding tester, and like I'll stand to the side of my bed. I'm not touching the bed, and it's telling me I'm not grounded. As soon as I touch my sheet, I'm like grounded. So I'm like, that's crazy. Like there's an
What?
electrical current or electromagnetic current coming from the earth, and it's like it's evidence right here that it exists because of this whole grounding tester.
Yeah,
It's wild. So I've
that's
noticed my
fascinating.
sleep. I shifted from the outlet to the outside method within like the last 3 days, and my sleep is drastically changed.
Hmm. Yeah, that's one thing I struggle with a lot is my sleep and optimizing my sleep. I have my Aura ring, and like my sleep scores are not super good. I get
Yeah,
like in
sleep
the
is so
80s.
essential, but yet so fleeting at the same time. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. What what advice would you give to a young person who is trying to achieve their goal? They know they know where they want to be, but they don't know how to get there. What would you say to that person?
I would say surround yourself with the people that you strive to be as best as you can. You are the sum of your five closest people around you. So I mean, I was able at a young age kind of like sift through the people that were kind of could be holding me back, and I had to kind of cut them out of my life, just because our values didn't align. So I think surrounding yourself with a great community, I think would be step one. Um, and just, I mean, it sounds weird, but maybe like just reading a lot. It doesn't matter necessarily what it is. Sometimes I'll pick up a book. I'm like, I'm not getting anything from this other than like you are. What the beauty of reading is the ability to step into the mind of another person, and I feel like that is something we all have been, or like the world, society has been uh, lacking, is just the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is really important. And the tie between people who read and people who are successful. I mean, not a lot of people read anymore. And you see, I think it's Bill Gates, right, who just carries this bag of books with him and he just reads a couple books a day and I think that is tied to success in a way. I
Bill
I like
Gates
to,
sucks, though.
huh?
Bill Gates sucks, though. He's evil.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the Yeah, he's messed up. Um, okay. I usually ask these questions to every single guest, but I've kind of adapted it differently because you are an avid reader, and I was reading you have this. It's like a book club of sorts, right? Do you still do that?
Yeah, I started it back in COVID. I haven't really done much with it in
Okay.
a couple years because when I was with the Dodgers and I wasn't performing well, fans don't want to see that, and the optics of it
Hmm.
are strange. So
Hmm.
I kind of put it to the side.
Okay. The next one is if you could tell 18-year-old you one thing, what would you tell him?
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm very fortunate to be where I'm in right now. I wouldn't really change much about the path. I love the journey, every part of it. I think that's essential. Not necessarily worrying about the goal or the desire, but be present and love the journey, love the process. So I really wouldn't tell him much other than just soak it up even more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
embrace it. Continue to love life. I think I would just tell them to grow up a little sooner.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, where can people find out more about you? I mean, if they don't know who you are already, I don't know what they're doing. But where can they find out more about you? Is there anywhere you want people to check out?
I'm most active on Instagram, although it comes and goes. I try to keep the app off my phone. I will delete it, reinstall it, log in, and look for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, I'm getting sucked into the algorithm. I gotta get off. But
Mhm.
it is real. So next thing you know, you're on there for 45 minutes. Okay, I gotta get out of here. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it basically.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been really insightful, and I'm so grateful to have gotten to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Solomon. Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing the great things that you accomplish.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. All right. Bye, everyone.